let us get started. So the first thing we sort of need to understand is what is a translation, because there's going to be different types of transformations that we're going to work with. And so it's very important that we understand the difference between the different things. So I am going to type it because I think it's going to be much neater than me trying to write this out. Basically, a translation is the movement of a shape or a point. I'm going to say a coordinate for now, of a point, English, up, down, left, or right on the Cartesian plane. Right, there we go. So basically what this is it's like a sliding movement. We're not rotating it, we're not twisting it, we are not reflecting it, we aren't making it bigger, we aren't making it smaller. Literally all we are doing is taking the shape and we are sliding it along to a different position on the Cartesian plane. So there is no change in its shape, it literally just moves position. Okay, so moving position. That is what a translation is. So whenever I say translate this coordinate or translate this shape, we are sliding it along our Cartesian plane in whatever direction we're told to do that. So that's just our first sort of transformation that we're going to chat about today. And like I say, there are 3 others that we're going to chat about, so we need to know the difference between them. All right, so you're welcome to take a screenshot of that, but then I'm going to move on to our very first example. I'm going to warn you guys now, I forgot to bring a ruler, so my lines are probably not going to be very straight as I draw. Just when you do these things, if you're drawing a shape, it needs to be with a ruler because it must be straight lines. I will do my absolute best, but just forewarning. Okay, so let's have a look at our very first example. We have been told to translate this triangle ABC 4 units down. Now, there are a bunch of different ways you can go and do this. And really at the end of the day, as long as you take the shape and move it 4 units down, however you want to do it is completely up to you. So the very first thing I want to do here, and I'm just going to make this a tad smaller so I've got some space, is I just want to write down the coordinates of A, B, and C. So what are the X and Y coordinates for the points A, B, and C? So maybe someone wants to raise their hand, or you're welcome to pop it in the chat. Can anyone tell me what the coordinates for, let's start with A are? So this point A, what are its coordinates? You can pop your hand up, you can put it in the chat. Okay, Tiamo, tell me.
The coordinates of A is 11.4.
Good,
right?
good. So guys, A is 11.4. Remember, very importantly, we always start with the X and then we write down the Y. So I knew it was 11 because if I read down to my X, it is at 11. And if I read all the way across to my Y coordinate, it is 4. Good, well done, right. There's still some hands up. So Lungile, do you want to tell me what the coordinates for B are?
Yes, ma'am. 5.7.
Good. So the coordinates for B are at 5, 7. Again, X first and then Y, but that's where we can find our point. Right, and Kulumo, tell me what C's coordinates are.
Ma'am, it's 3 and 4.
Excellent, well done. Okay.
Well done, well said.
Right, guys, so we have got 3 and 4 as our coordinates for C. Now, the reason I'm writing these coordinates out is because when we now do our transformation, we're going to label them slightly differently. So it's important to see the difference between how we label the coordinates. And because one of the ways that we can figure out where a coordinate should be is through sort of like relationships between the X and the Y coordinates. But like I say, however you're more comfortable doing this is completely up to you. So the way I approach these sorts of questions is I say, okay, cool. I need to take this entire shape and I need to move it 4 units down. What that means is that every vertex, so every point making up the corners of the triangle needs to move 4 units down. Now, Once you get more comfortable with this, you'll be able to sort of move one coordinate down, and then you'll be able to figure out where the rest go. But to start off with, I'm going to move every single coordinate down. So this coordinate A needs to move, whoopsie daisies, 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. So this coordinate A is now going to sit on the x-axis at 11, 0. Okay, now when we label this new point, we label it A dash, so with like an apostrophe above it. And what that little apostrophe means, what that little apostrophe means is that the original point A has been transformed in some way. So when we go and label this coordinate, there's a dash at the top or an apostrophe, and this is now at 11, 0. Now it's at 0 because it's on the x-axis. So we haven't actually then moved up or down if we look at that specific point. The y coordinate, if we were to read across, is at 0. So 11, 0. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with our other points. So let's take point B, 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. So this is now where my new point B is going to be. Remember, little apostrophe there. So point B, if I read it off, is going to be at 5, 3. Then I go to my last point C, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now coordinate C dash is at 3, 0. Okay, I'm going to do my best to draw in some straight lines. Let's see if I can do it. Otherwise, we're going to do our best. Oh, look at that. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's going to be good enough. Right, so we take our ruler, we draw in our lines to connect those points. And what we have done is we have now translated that triangle ABC 4 units down. There we go. Okay, so we draw in our triangle, and we can now see, if I take sort of this red triangle, I can see very clearly that it has moved 4 units down from the blue triangle. Now, like I say, as you get more comfortable with this, you can sort of do one point and then you know, okay, well, C is this many units away and you can draw it in. But to start off with, just remember, as long as you move every single coordinate according to what the instruction is, you are fine. Right, so the reason we've got that second triangle is because I've translated the original one 4 units down. So I've got a second triangle that is now moved 4 units down. Right, now, if you have a look at your coordinates, if we think about the fact that we're moving down, what this means, hopefully we can agree, is that we're changing the y coordinates because that's the up-down axis that we work with. Now, this is not something you need to stress about right now. It's just sort of something to keep an eye out for. If we go to coordinate A, the y coordinate was 4. If I now look at A dash, the y coordinate was 0. So I subtracted 4 from that. If I look at the y coordinate of the original point B, that was 7. If I now go to B dash's y coordinate, that's 3. I subtracted 4. If I go to the y coordinate for point C, that was 4. If I go to C dash, that was 0. So each time I've subtracted 4, but this makes sense because I'm moving 4 units down. And so you can potentially work with the coordinates if you want to, but it's not something you have to stress too much about. Okay, so I'm going to say that again because I know that was a lot of words without me writing anything down. So I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller so that we can write this in. If I compare coordinate A with A dash, I have subtracted 4 to get from 4 to 0. So 4 minus 4 gives me 0. If I compare the B y values, I've gone 7 minus 4 to get to 3. If I compare the C values, I've gone 4 minus 4 to get to 0. So every single time I'm subtracting 4. But this all makes sense because I'm moving 4 units down. And so you can work with y coordinates if you want to, and like mathematically calculate what the new coordinate should be for your transformed shape. But honestly, if you are just comfortable looking at the diagram and doing like the bunny hops like I did, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so that is sort of the basics of a translation. We're going to do quite a few more, so don't stress if it's still feeling a bit new. Oh, gosh. Sorry, my cat's being a little nonsense. Children. Okay, so do we have any questions about this first example? Again, I completely understand that this is new and we're going to do a lot more examples of this. But for now, what I need you to sort of get is that we've taken the blue triangle, slid it 4 units down to get the red triangle, because that's what the instructions told me to do. Right, Isandre, what is your question?
Ma'am, will they ever ask us to translate it diagonally?
No. So we generally work with up, down, left, or right for translations. Any other sort of like weird diagonal movement will then probably have to do with a reflection or a rotation. So you won't be asked to translate diagonally.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Okay, guys, so let's have a look at another one. Take your screenshot of this if you need to, and then let's have a look at our next one. Cool. So let's have a look at example 2. So we've got a triangle ABC again, and we want to shift it 3 units right. So let's not stress about coordinates or anything like that. Let's just have a look at this triangle and let's go and move it according to what it's asked me to do. Now remember, we take every single coordinate and we apply this transformation that we've been told to do. So I'm going to start with coordinate A. If I move in right, I'm going along the horizontal axis. So 1, 2, 3 units right. So here is my new point A, so A dash. The coordinate B must move 3 units right, so 1, 2, 3. And so here is my new coordinate for B. Whoopsie daisies, B dash. And my new coordinate for C is 1, 2, 3 units to the right. So it's sitting here at C dash. Right, again, I'm going to do my best to draw in this triangle. We'll see how it goes. We take our ruler, we draw in our lines. And what we have is an orange triangle. That was not a good line. An orange triangle that represents the translation of the blue triangle 3 units to the right. Okay, gosh, what a tedious process. There we go, got there in the end. Terrible line. Wait there. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. Oh gosh, guys, I'm so glad I'm so focused tonight. Look at that. There's A and there's A. Do apologize. That is my orange triangle. I had to look at it and I was like, that's not right. Okay. So thank you, Andre. I was definitely wrong with A. That is now my translated triangle. I took the blue one and I've slid it to the right by 3 units. Okay, so does someone want to maybe raise their hand, or you can pop it in the chat? Does someone maybe want to give me the new coordinates for A dash, B dash, and C dash?
We can do this, my babes. We can do it. Let's go. I see some hands.
Oh,
sorry,
awesome.
my net is so bad.
Okay, let me get hands. Oh, okay. Lafika, tell me.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I'd like to answer the coordinates for A.
Okay, perfect. Tell me.
It's 14, 4.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so guys, A is at 14, 4. Both of them positive. but that is where A dash is. Right, thank you, Lafika. I'm going to ask someone else for B, if that's okay. All right, who else? We have got so many hands up. Oh, gosh, sorry, everyone. Amahle, tell me what B is.
B is 8,
B dash.
semicolon 3.
Perfect. So B dash is 8 semicolon 3. Awesome. Okay. Oh, golly. Sorry, guys. I'm not doing well with my sort of clicking here. Okay. I'm very sorry if I mispronounce your name. Matlogonolo. Please correct me. You want to give us C dash?
Ma'am, it's Matlogonolo, ma'am.
Say it again, slowly.
Ma'am, it's Matlogonolo, ma'am, but you can call me Tlogi, ma'am.
Tlogi.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, so C, ma'am, it's 6 and 4.
Excellent. Okay, so C dash is at 6, 4. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So those are our coordinates for the new triangle A dash, B dash, C dash. Okay, now I saw somewhere that there was still some questions. So if you do have questions, please remember to either put it in the chat or you can raise your hand. Either way, completely up to you. But make sure that you do ask that I can help you where necessary. Okay, so those are our coordinates. All we've done, taken them, shifted them 3 units right. And I think that's actually the easiest way to do these. There's no point in trying to get complicated. Literally just take them and move them to where they need to go. My cat's lost his mind. Right, so take your screenshot and let's have a look at the next one. Sorry, now he's being naughty. Louis, stop it. Okay, screenshot's done. Let us have a look at example 3. So I'm going to ask that you give this one a try by yourselves. Now, obviously, you don't have the set of axes in front of you. So if you want to, the way you can do it is to set up sort of your work to say, okay, well, my original coordinates are A0, 1, B, -2, 3, and C, -6, 1. And you can just write down your coordinates for your new triangle of A dash, B dash, and C dash. So give this one a try. See if you want to draw it out, obviously, by all means, you are translating the triangle 3 units up according to the instructions. Okay, so that is what you need to do. I'm going to give you a minute or two to do that. I also need to kick my cat out because he's being a little nonsense. There you go. And then we can have a look at some answers. You're welcome to put answers on the chat. You're welcome to raise your hand, but good luck, you got this. All right, guys, and remember coordinates, X first and then Y. No, I'm still here, Andre, hopefully. Can everyone still hear me? We all seem to be having a bit of a network problem. So if you can't hear me, just let me know and I'll try to figure it out. All right, remember, you're welcome to pop your answers in the chat, or you can raise your hand. I already see Oratile's hand is up. Okay, Malika, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, and you're welcome to correct me if I'm not. What I would start with is drawing the triangle that I initially gave you. So first drawing the triangle ABC. And only once you've done that, will you translate the shape. So what I'll start with is drawing the original triangle, and then I'll give you another second or two to translate it for yourself. Okay, so our original triangle ABC, 0, 1 is A, B is -2, oopsie daisies, -2, 3, and C is, oh gosh, guys, do you also realize how I'm just losing my mind? You can't plot C because I didn't give you a -6 on the x-axis. So let's change C to be +6. I do apologize. My brain clearly was not working. So +6, 1. That's where we're going to put C. I do apologize. I went through these notes about 4 times and still did not notice that. So very sorry. Mistakes do happen. I'll fix it on the side now. That line's not working with me. So C, we're going to 6, 1. Otherwise, we're not going to have space to plot it. So with a ruler, sorry, my straight lines just weren't working. There is my triangle. And we want to move that triangle 3 units up. Okay, it's a beautiful triangle. I'm not an artist, as you can see. Okay, tell me.
Ma'am, it's actually a genre, but if you can't pronounce it, you can call me Dre.
No, a genre is fine. Sorry, I didn't know, but thank you for telling me. Is that better? A genre? No, as.
Well, you can call me Dre.
No, say it again for me.
A genre.
A genre. Got it? Thank you.
No problem.
A genre. Thank you. Okay. Guys, so sorry. My mistake with the C coordinates. Wangi, are you going to tell me? Or have I just created a lot of confusion?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I have the answer for B and C.
Wonderful. Tell me.
I said B is -2, 6.
Good.
And then B is 4, 6.
Sorry, I just want to plot them as you go. And C, sorry, is or A?
C, 4, 6. 4 and
Okay.
6.
Perfect. So C, do you agree it should be 6 first and then 4?
Oh yeah, sorry, ma'am.
No, perfect. Do you have the coordinates for A?
I'm not sure if it's right, but I said 4 and 0.
Okay, really close. Remember, the X must come first, and because X is still 0, it's then going to be 0, 4.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Good, well done. Okay, guys, so A is 0, 4. Remember, X, if I'm sitting on that Y axis, so if I'm sitting on that horizontal axis, X is going to be 0. So let's draw in our triangle. It's going to be this blue one here. Hopefully it's a bit better than the last one. My blue triangle is now the original triangle shifted 3 units up according to the instruction that I was given. Okay, so that is essentially a translation. Okay, so I can see some hands up. I'm assuming they're questions. Tando, do you have a question for me?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yes.
So when it comes to like calculating and translating, do we like, if let's say we're not drawing the actual triangle and then it comes to the part where we have to calculate, do we only work with like the axis or do we also do the y-axis?
Okay, so I mean, it's going to be very much dependent on what transformation you're doing. In this case, whenever you're moving up or down, the x's are always going to stay the same because you're just going up or down. If you go left or right, that's when the x's change and the y stays the same. So it's all going to depend on what the transformation is that you're working with. But whenever you're doing a translation, I would do it the way I've been showing you, just like count the steps up or the steps down or the right or left or whatever the case is and plot your new point where you've counted to.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, Oratile, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that should we always draw the triangles or is it fine to just do the calculations without the triangle?
Okay, so it depends on what the question asks you to do. In this case, because it said translate the triangle 3 units up, you would have to draw the triangle because it specifically relates to the triangle. However, if they only ask you for a specific coordinate, so let's say, for example, I had just given you something like 1 point, and I've said, here's the points, I don't know, P, move it 3 units up, then you can just write the coordinates down. Sometimes, English. Sometimes they'll ask you to draw it and write down the coordinates. So sometimes you might have to do both, but it depends on what the question asks you. Generally, though, you have to draw it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Okay, guys. So let us take a break because I know it's been a lot of information and we're going to do some more examples. So don't you stress. We'll come to those now. Here is our brain break for the day. There we go. We got there in the end. So if you are new, a brain break is basically just a minute or two, either to get up, stretch, move your body, run to the loo, just have a moment before we carry on. The brain breaks, I try and give brain teasers or these little like maths problems. So what you need to do is you need to try and work out the value of each of these different people here going on. Matthew, I see your question. I'm actually going to answer it for everyone. So Matthew's question asked, will they ever ask to move, say, for example, up and left or down and right or 2 translations in one? Yes. And we're going to have a look at that in a second or two. So they definitely can. And we're going to have a look at those sorts of examples now.
Everybody's getting the joke. I'm also getting it by people. I'm laughing at the joke.
Okay, and I already see some hands, which is awesome. Okay. Wanganele, do you want to tell me some or anything?
Ma'am, the answer would be 10 plus 10 plus 10.
Awesome. So 10 plus 10 plus 10. So what is each of those basketball players worth if there's 2 of them representing 10?
They're each worth 5, ma'am.
Excellent. So now where I see one of them, I know it's worth 5. Awesome. Well done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know we've got other hands. I'm just struggling with technology. Banele, what do you want to tell me? Oh no. Okay. Oratile, do you have one for us? Oh no. Okay. Vanilla, am I trying again? There we go. I still can't hear you. See if your microphone's on. And if you've got speakers in or something, you might need to unplug them. Otherwise, you're welcome to pop your answer in the chat. Ah, there we go.
Sorry, ma'am. I pressed the thingy by mistake.
No problem.
Sir.
So which one do you want to give us? No.
Uh,
Okay, I don't know what's happening. Is it Oratile speaking?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me. You don't want to tell me.
Ma'am, I'm gonna try, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm not sure, ma'am. I'm still thinking of it, ma'am.
No problem. Think away. I'm going to ask someone else if that's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Okay, Nadia, tell me.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, for the second one, I said 4 times 4 plus 5.
Excellent. Okay, so guys, really important here. We need to start with the multiplication. That is the more important, no, let's not say it like that. That is the operation that needs to happen first before we do the addition. So 4 times 4 gives me 16, and then 16 plus 5 gives me 21, which is great. Now, what that means is each of those little, I don't know, walking men are 4, which means every time we see double, we're working with 8. So we just need to bear that in mind. Right, Sepi, do you want to give me the next one?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I said 8 times 8, which is 64.
Good.
And then I said 80 minus 64, which is 16.
Excellent.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what does that mean one of those water polo players are?
One of them is 8.
Good. Well done. All right, so Wangi, do you want to give us the final answer here? Oh, there we go. Yes?
Sorry, ma'am, is the answer 48? I said 8 multiplied by 5 plus 8.
Good. So guys, we do the multiplication first. 8 times 5 is 40. And then we add our 8. So we get 48. Well done. I'm seeing all those answers come through on the chat. Excellent. Okay. I don't know if you want to take a screenshot of this, but I'll leave it for a second and then we will look at our next example. Bonganele, do you have a question or is your hand up by mistake?
No, ma'am, it's up by mistake. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay. No problem. Alrighty, guys. So I'm going to sort of go to this next example here because Matthew had asked it, and sort of it is a really important thing that we need to cover. So don't stress about the other ones. We're going to get to those. What we need to be able to do with translations is know how to combine translations. So move up and right or down and left or whatever the case is. So here we've got triangle ABC, and we have been told to do 2 things to it. So the very first thing I'm going to represent, I don't know, in this pinky purpley color, and it's telling me to translate this triangle 3 units up. Now, obviously, as you get more and more comfortable with it, you can do everything in one step. That's fine. But let's go step by step to start off with. Okay, so each coordinate first needs to go 3 units up. So that's what we're going to do. Start with A, 1, 2, 3. Now, remember, this is not the final point. It still has to move 2 units right. But for now, I know that A dash is going to be here. I still need to do another translation though. Right, then I go B, 1, 2, 3 units up. So that's my new B dash. And C, 1, 2, 3 units up. So here's my new C dash. But that's not done. We've only done one half of this translation. I still need to move every single one of those points 2 units right. So now I go to each of those pinky units or pinky coordinates that I've drawn, and I go 3 units right. So I'm going to start with A, 1, 2, 3. Now, because this is the final translation, I'm done. So I can now plot this coordinate A with confidence. B, 1, 2, 3. So there's B dash. And C, 1, 2, 3. So here's C dash. Now, what I would do is all of the pink stuff, I'd probably do in pencil so that I can then erase it and work only with the coordinates that are the final set of coordinates. Oh gosh, and then I went and erased where C should be. Right, there we go. Now that I've done both translations, I did up and I did right, I can now go draw my triangle in. So I get my ruler, get my pencil, and I draw in my straight line. So there's AB. It's gonna fight with me too. Oh, golly, golly, golly. Me and technology today, we're just fighting. Can't tell you what's happening, guys. Very sorry. Lee, did I not move 2 units right? Have I lost my marbles? Oh, I moved 3 units right. Thank you very much. Guys, I'm clearly having a bit of a day. So A should be there. B should be here. I actually saw that in the chat and I did not listen. C should be here. I feel like it is the end of the term and all of our brains are mush. Or at least my brain is mush. Your guys' brains are clearly not as mush as mine because you are on it. I am not on it. Okay, I fixed it, so don't stress. This is now correct. We went 3 units up, 2 units right. And whilst my triangle is not perfect, this is more or less where triangle ABC should be. I'm going to try fix that bottom line. But that is... You guys can laugh at me. I'm having a day. It's okay. We all have days. No, Kia, Wednesday is not with me today. I also thought today was Tuesday. And so I got to my classes getting ready for Tuesday, actually already having done Tuesday. So not my day today, but it's okay. We've managed. Okay, guys. So through all of that, I hope we are in agreement that this is where the green triangle is at. Because I've clearly been very confused here, can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down of how you feel about this before I carry on? Because that was a wild journey that we just went on. And I took you on that journey unnecessarily. Okay, now guys, importantly, and I suppose now sort of Matthew's brought this up and it links back to the other question about, will we ever move diagonally? The end result looks like it is diagonal. However, it has undergone 2 non-diagonal translations to end up at that. Now, there's no way for me to go in one swift movement as a like diagonal translation to where it is. We would have to move up and across. So yes, it definitely looks diagonal, but there is no, I won't give you an instruction of move, I don't know, however many units diagonally. You will have to move up and then across. So the end result looks like it shifted diagonally, and it should look like it shifted diagonally when we do a left and a right or an up and a down, right, left, when we combine. But we're not able to go directly to that diagonal position. Okay. Take your screenshot. I'm glad some of you are also feeling a bit like weird about Wednesdays. I do see some thumbs down. Do not stress. I'm going to do another one. Hopefully, I'm not going to make a silly mistake again. And hopefully, everyone We'll be okay. You know, guys, sometimes we just have days, and that's fine. All right, so if you draw both of the triangles, so when I say both of the triangles, what I mean, just because I can see Ashandre put a question here, is if we draw on our graphs both of the things, and if you can't see. So what I would do is I would draw my initial triangle quite light. Alternatively, if you haven't and you're worried about it being marked, don't label the initial triangle. So for example, the initial triangle is that pink one. Don't label it. Label only your final triangle. And if you are really, really in doubt, maybe go over it in like pen or make it much darker or the lines a bit thicker so that it's quite clear which one it is. I do understand that sometimes we want to draw both. The reason I didn't draw both is because of exactly this. We want to make sure we've only drawn the final one. So if you want to, draw it very lightly so that you can erase it. And any diagram you draw in maths can be done in pencil. It does not have to be done in pen. And so draw it lightly in pencil so that you can erase it afterwards. Alrighty. Alternatively, just make very, very, very clear where the final one is. Or yeah, as Amanda's now put on the chat, maybe just do some like very light dotted lines so you can sort of see where it is and then go from there. But my advice, do it in pencil so that you can erase it. Awesome. Okay, so guys, I'd like to do one more before you all run away from me because I've been chaos tonight. We have got the triangle PQR, and I'm going to get this one right. Okay, I'm on it. I'm going to read my own instructions carefully. Translate triangle PQR 5 units down and 3 units left. Okay, so let's start with the 5 units down. Each of these points must go down 5 units. I'm going to start with P. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my first sort of P. And we're then going to go on to Q. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the Q. It's not my final Q. I'm going to get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's the new point R. I still need to go 3 units left. So let's get another color here. Now we take each of these points left. 1, 2, 3. So now this is my final point P dash. Q, 1, 2, 3. This is now my final point Q dash. 1, 2, 3, my final point R dash. And so now I can take off all of my pencil markings, all of my initial triangles. Oh, golly, Miss Molly. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. And I can draw in my final triangle for myself. So this is now this blue triangle that has gone 5 units down, as well as 3 units left. And I've got my final transformation that has happened. All right, so hopefully, now that I've actually managed to do one without making silly mistakes, we are all in agreement.